Sri Sai Ram. Till the previous session, we were discussing about indefinite integrals. Now from there we move on to definite integrals. What is the main difference between indefinite and definite? We know that whenever we do integration of a function, in the end we add a constant of integration. And that constant can take any number of values. What we mean is, whenever we solve an indefinite integral, any number of solutions can be written because the constant of integration can keep changing. Whereas the definite integrals have got certain limits. Within those limits, we will be finding the value of the function. So as a result, the definite integral gives you a definite value. There is no more constant of integration because we are able to find its value by substituting the limits. So definite integrals have got a definite value or definite answer that does not change. Now, this definite integral is defined in two different ways. The first one, which we are going to see today, is called definite integrals as sum of functions. And later on, we are going to see much easier way of evaluating a definite integral. After learning the basic part today, when we go to the second part, you will realize that the second part is much easier. As a result, rest all problems in definite integrals we will be solving by the second method. But how the second method has come? By first method. So today we are going to learn how this definite integral is useful to us for finding out the value of a particular function. So let us begin. The introductory part, beautifully it is explained in a very systematic way. Have patience to observe the diagram. Also have the patience to understand what we are telling, and then we will see the explanation. The explanation is given in the textbook also, but even to understand the explanation, you need to be very clear about terms. So let us begin. Yes. Please look at the definition. The definite integral, these are called limits of the integral a to b. A is called lower limit, b is called upper limit, and fx is a function. You are familiar with integration of fx dx. Fx can take any value. It can be trigonometric function, it can be exponential function, it can be logarithmic function, and most commonly it can be polynomial function. So fx can take any value, okay? So what does it give actually? The definite integral of a particular function gives you area. Now you may ask, sir, we learned so many formulae to calculate area right from our school days. In mensuration, we have studied how to calculate area of a triangle, area of a circle, area of a quadrilateral, and so many figures. We know so many formulae in order to calculate area. Then why again we are learning area here? Because this definite integral helps us to calculate areas of indefinite figures. Means figures which you cannot name it. You cannot say it is triangular, or you cannot say it is rectangular, or you cannot say it is a square, or you cannot say it is a circle. It may be combination of different things. So the definite integral actually helps us to calculate area of indefinite figures. So how it is, we are going to learn, and that is the basis for definite integrals. So what is it? Just have a look once again. A definite integral a to b. A and b are limits. Remember, a is called lower limit, b is called upper limit. Within these two limits, the function is defined. Okay, fx is a function. So what does it give? It gives area bounded by the curve y equal to fx. What is y equal to fx? Is a function. Let us say, for example, sine function. Fx can be sine x. Fx equal to x, polynomial function. Fx equal to e to the power x, exponential function. And you know, for all such functions, we can draw the graph. So here what we have done, we have drawn the graph of this particular function y equal to fx. See, this is the curve. This, the curve q to s, is the graph of the function fx. Okay? So curve y equal to fx, the ordinates. What do you mean by ordinate? Ordinate basically means y coordinate. What is the equation of y axis? The equation of y axis is x equal to 0. Okay, so here we are saying x equal to a and x equal to b. See this PQ is x equal to a. Here x value is a. Okay, so here x value is a and this PQ is f of a. Because there it takes the value, x takes the value a. And then this the other limit where x equal to b. It is something like between 2 and 5. So 2 is the lower limit, 5 is the upper limit. Since we are defining, we are not using the numbers, we are saying a and b. And what else is there? One is the curve. One are these ordinates and then above x-axis. Purposely we have taken above x-axis. It is not necessary that the area should be only above axis. But once we learn for above x-axis, it can always be used for anything else. So basically we are trying to calculate area between the curve, the two ordinates and above x-axis. In other terms, just observe the diagram P, R, S, Q. This area we want to calculate. Now how do we do it? Can you say it is rectangular? Actually, you could have called it rectangular if only this Q and S are joined and we would have drawn a parallel line to x-axis. It could have divided it into two parts, one rectangle and one triangle. We would have calculated area. But it is a curve. So we have no formula in mensuration by which we can calculate its area. So definite integral comes to our rescue. So what is that we are trying to do here? This is the area P, R, S, Q. This area we want to calculate. So how are we going to calculate? What we are doing is, we are dividing this entire area in small strips. Small strips. So let us say, for example, this is one strip, this is the next strip, and like that. We are dividing into several strips. And this width of the strip, we are taking it as h. What is this h? A value which is very close to 0. Very, very small. H is very, very small. How many strips you can divide? It depends upon with what you divide. The width of the strip depends upon number of strips. See, the total length from P to R, if you take, OP is how much? A. And OR is how much? B. So what is PR? PR is B minus A. From here, from OR, if you subtract OP, you get PR. So how much is PR? It is B minus A. This is the total width. We divide with N. N stands for number of strips. Suppose if you say N is 10, you get 10 strips. If you say N is 100, you get 100 strips. If you say N is 10,000, you get 10,000 strips. What will keep changing? The width of the strip will keep changing. If N tends to infinity, means if N is a very, very large number, what will happen? The width of the strip will be almost close to 0. So what is H? It is B minus A by N. If N tends to infinity, H tends to 0. In whichever way you want, you can put it. So once again, let us go back to the definition, which says the definite integral a to b fx dx is the area bounded by the curve y equal to fx, and the ordinates. Ordinates means the vertical lines. X equal to a and x equal to b, and the x-axis, above x-axis. Means basically we are trying to tell, to evaluate the area, consider the region PRSQP. PRSQP. This is the area we want to calculate. So what did we do? We divided into various strips. We have not shown all the strips. We just shown first and second and in between one. So each strip, if you take, is not exactly a rectangle, but very close to rectangle, we can say. Why? Because either side you can see the vertical lines. Okay. Down is again a horizontal line. Only the top, because of the curve, it is not exactly. So we have chosen a particular one in between to get a clarity. So here the strip is what? A, B, D, C, A. That is the strip. You can say that the area of the strip A, B, D, C, A is greater than what? This rectangle. Which rectangle? A, B, L, C. Little lower. And it is smaller than the bigger rectangle. Bigger rectangle means A, B, D, M. So the area of the strip A, B, D, C is between the areas of a lower rectangle, that is A, B, L, C, and greater rectangle A, B, D, M. In between them is that particular area. What is its area? Now for example, lower rectangle. What is its width? We have taken width as h, whether it is first or second or third. The width is h only. Okay. What is the height? For lower rectangle, what is the height? It is AC. What is it here? xr minus 1. So height is xr minus 1. Multiply that with h. Whereas if you take the bigger rectangle, that is ABDM, you have to consider BD as length or height. Okay. So how much is BD? It is XR. If you take smaller rectangle, it is XR minus 1 into H. If you take bigger rectangle, it is XR into H. Our required area, that is ABDC, lies between both of them. Our required area of this strip lies between smaller rectangle or area and bigger rectangular area. Now how we are going to proceed? We are going to say that when h becomes very small, means when number of strips are too many. Now for example, this is the strip. You can measure the width. You can say maybe 1 inch, 2.5. Now just think this is being divided into 1000 parts. How much will be the width? Maybe 0.1 centimeter or 0.2 centimeters. Or let us say we divide it into 10,000 parts. It will be very close to 0. What happens in that case? In that case, this CA and this DB both will merge with each other. They will become one. Why? Because they are too very close. There is hardly any gap. But still we show h. We are not saying h is 0. We are only saying that h tends to 0. So what will be the area then? The area is going to be xr minus 1 into h. For bigger rectangle it is xr into h, and both will become 1. Or we are trying to say that the required area, which was between two small and bigger rectangle, will also become same. And that's how we derive the formula. I hope you understood. So let us move further. Yes, a to b fx dx is equal to limit h tends to 0. What do you mean by h tends to 0? H is the width. We are assuming that it is very close. So how do you get total area? you keep adding areas of each rectangle. What was the first rectangle? We started with x equal to a. That x equal to a, or the first one is x0, you can call it, okay? So when you substitute x equal to a, fx becomes fa. What is the next one? The next one is plus h. x0, if you add 1, it will become x1. So what is x0? Is lower limit a, so it is a plus h. Next one a plus 2h, and the last one will be a plus n minus 1 into h. H, remember, is the width which is there for all. What are these fa, fa plus h, fa plus n minus h, etc.? They are the vertical lengths. You can call it length. So fa into h, f a plus h into, similarly f a plus 2h. In that particular way, they will be available to us, and we substitute their values. How do you substitute the values? This h, what is this h? We told the total width. What was the total width? Other limit was b, lower limit is a, so the total is b minus a divided by n. So this h is substituted by b minus a by n. When it was h, it was tending to 0, whereas when you take n, it is tending to infinity. So either you can write like that, or you can write like this, but remember, both are one and the same. How both are one and the same? Just observe. Here we have fa, here we have fa, here we have f of a plus h. So everything is same. So formula can be written in this way, or formula can also be written in this particular manner. What is important to note is, just by adding all this, you get the required area. It's a little lengthy process, but this is one of the methods to calculate area. And what is the formula finally we derive? Just addition of these things. What is the first one? When x was a, we call it fa. The next strip, plus h is added, so it becomes a plus h. Next strip, another h is added, so it becomes a plus 2h, and it goes on till the end. So either you write formula this way, or you write formula this way. Both gives you the same area, one in terms of h, another in terms of n. If it is in terms of h, it tends to 0. If it is in terms of n, it tends to infinity. And this is the relation between both of them. H equal to b minus a by n as n tends to infinity. The above expression known as the definition of definite integral as limit of sum. So please have a look in the textbook, you will be able to understand. Yes. Now, based upon this formulae, we will be able to evaluate areas of different functions in between the given limits. So we have just picked up 3 problems from the exercise. Basically there are 6 problems in the exercise. We just picked up 3 problems. Remember, you require some patience to solve these questions. Why? Because in order to solve these questions, all that which you studied before, you need to recollect. For example, if you remember in 11th standard, you have studied about arithmetic progression, geometric progression. And then toward the end, you also studied about some special sequences. What are those special sequences? The special sequences were about sum of natural numbers. Sum of natural numbers means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to infinity. What is sum of n natural numbers? You can apply arithmetic formula and get the same value, that is n into n plus 1 by 2. Then you also studied about sum of squares of natural numbers, that is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square up to n square. This particular series is called special because it is neither arithmetic progression, nor geometric progression, nor any known progression. But we have calculated, we have found the formula for that. What was the formula for sum of squares of natural numbers? It is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. Similarly, we also found out sum of cubes of natural numbers. All those things you have to recollect. You also have to recollect various limits formulae. For example, limit extending to 0 sin x by x is equal to 1. Similarly, in exponential, you have studied limit extending to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x is equal to 1. All those things will be using. So you have to recollect those formulae. See, problem looks very simple. Suppose if you want to do this problem, let us say I want to do this problem. Very simple it is. It is equal to, what is the integral of x? Integral of x is x square by 2, and the limits are a to b. So what is the answer? In order to find the answer, the method is, for fx, if capital Fx is the result, in that first substitute upper limit minus substitute lower limit. So if you substitute that, the answer is b square minus a square by 2. So simple. But how this has come is what we have discussed. And if you follow that, the solution is going to be quite big. That's why this kind of questions are asked for 5 marks or sometimes even more. Whereas, if the same question is asked for 1 mark, they don't expect you to do by the process which we have learnt, integration as limit of sum. In that case, it is only 1 mark question. So based upon marks, we have to solve. If it is a 5 marks question, you cannot do like this. You may or may not be given even 1 mark also, because he is not expecting you to do by this. Okay? So let us proceed and try solving these questions one after the other with little bit of patience. Yes. Before you start solving the question, first write the formula which you have derived. This is the formula. This was one of the formula where we are using h. Eventually we will change it to n. Okay. Now, in place of x, in place of fx, what we have? In place of fx, we have x. So we will say here fx equal to x. What about limits? Limits in the formula, limits in the problem are same. So we don't need to worry about it. But still, we need to define what is h. What is h? H is, it is b minus a by n. Okay? So how do you solve? Just go back to the formula. Write down what is f of a. Fx is known. So tell me what is fa. Fa is a. Next is f of a plus h. So write down what is f of a plus h. Write down next f of a plus 2h. and you keep writing all the terms. Let us write the last term, that is f of a plus n minus 1 into h. So this also will be a plus n minus 1 into h. Add all of them. If you add all these terms, you get that particular term within these square brackets. So when you add vertically, what do you find? We have a with every term. How many terms are there? There are n terms because we divide it into n parts. So the sum of the first column is what? Very simple, n into a. If there are 5 parts, 5 into a, 10 parts, 10 into a, n parts, n into a. So this total, I am not writing purposely, I am just totaling this as NA plus. Now try adding this. What do you find? This is 1h, this is 2h, then 3h, then 4h, then 10h, then 11h, and toward the end n minus 1h. Means what? H is common in all. Take it out. If you take out h common, what will be left? We will be left with 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 dash 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 n minus 1. I already discussed with you sum of n natural numbers. Remember, these are nothing but natural numbers. Sum of n natural number, we have a formula. What is the formula we have? Which is called sigma n. What is sigma n? N into n plus 1 by 2. In place of sigma n, we have sigma n minus 1. We have one term less. So replace n with n minus 1, you will get that total. So this is NA plus h in brackets. Write this. In place of n, write n minus 1. In place of n, write n minus 1 plus 1. It will automatically will become n by 2. So we have found the sum. Just substitute these values and simplify by taking limits. You will get the answer. So let us do that. So we can say this is equal to h, limit h tending to 0, h, and then what did we get? NA plus h into n square minus n we will not open, we will just write it as it is, n minus 1 into n by 2. Whatever total we got of all this left hand side terms, we wrote it there. Simplify. Just simplify 2 steps, you get the answer. How do you simplify? This nh can come inside. Or you can substitute the value of h also. Okay? Any way you can do. NHA plus this h will come here, h square, n square minus n by 2. Go back to the original thing. What is this nh? If you multiply n into h, what you get? B minus a. Okay? So this nh can be replaced by plus, what about that? Multiply it. If you multiply, what you will get? You will get h square, you will get h square n square. If nh is b minus a, we can say that this particular thing, n square h square, will be b minus a whole square by 2. Because nh is b minus a, n into h is b minus a, so n square h square will be this. Now multiply h square with that. So you will have minus h square n by 2. In this h square n by 2, one nh you can substitute. one NH can be substituted as B minus A, but you will be left with one H still. Okay, so instead of writing the next step here itself, we will do it. Now proceed to the limits. What are the limits? H is tending to 0. If H tends to 0, nothing will happen to this first term. Why? There is no H. Nothing will happen to second term. Why? There is no H. But this will become 0. Why? Because H is multiplying it. If H tends to 0, this last term will vanish. So when we are proceeding to the limits, the last term vanishes, only this will be left, which you have to simplify. How do you simplify it? Very simple. What is common in between them? You find that B minus A is common. Take it out. Here what is left? Here we are left with A, plus here what we are left with? We are left with B by 2 minus A by 2. What is A minus A by 2? It is A by 2. So this is B minus A. Here A minus A by 2 is A by 2. So you will have A plus B by 2. What is A plus B or B plus A into B minus A? A plus B or B plus A is same. So B minus A into B plus A can be written as B square minus A square by 2. This is the answer. So this is how very patiently we need to solve these problems. Now since you got some idea, as we move to the next problem, you will find it easy. So let us move to the next. Yes. This is a real problem. Real problem in the sense we have got numbers. Easy to understand. So how do you do it? Same. First write formula. What is the formula? This is the formula. Now just compare the numbers. What are the limits here in this problem? 2 to 3. So we can say here okay, and we also find that fx is x square. Okay, so first find out h. What is the formula for h? H is b minus a by 2. So we can say here h is equal to b minus a by 2 will become 3 minus 2 b minus a by n. Okay, the interval is being divided into n parts, so the denominator is n, not 2. Okay, so it is 3 minus 2 by n, or in other terms it is 1 by n. And then follow the same method. How? What is the method? First write what is the function. So the function is fx equal to x square. First thing is fa. So what is fa? Fa is a square. What is the next thing? F of a plus h. What is it? Then f of a plus 2h. A plus 2h square. And in this way, write the last term. Let us say f of a plus n minus 1 into h. So you will get a plus n minus 1 into h square. What do we do to solve the problem? All these terms to be added because that's what is there in the rectangular bracket. So add it. Either you simply copy this there or simplify it and substitute. Both are same. Okay. So this can be written as limit h tends to 0 h into fa. Now we want to add, if you remember last time we added column wise. Now also you can do the same thing, but remember there are squares. So in every step you have to use square formula, a plus b whole square, and we know that a plus b whole square has got 3 terms. So for example this one, this is a square plus 2ah plus h square. Similarly, this one if you simplify, you will get a square plus 4ah plus 4h square. A plus b whole square formula. Similarly, if you simplify this, you are going to get a square plus 2ab. So 2a n minus 1 into h plus n minus 1 square h square. Whereas only the first term has got only one term. Now try to add column wise. When you try to add column wise, what happens? Every step first term is a square, a square, a square, a square, a square. How many a squares? N a squares. So we'll say h is outside, the sum of this is n a square. Now try adding the second terms. What is the second term? Here there is no second term. So remember, number of terms are not now n but 1 less because that term is not here. So add. You find that this is 2ah, then next is 4ah, next will be 6ah, then will be 8ah, and toward the end we have 2 into n minus 1h. So from all those terms you can take 2 common. What else you can take common? You can also take h common. You can see h. Take out that and then write. So what do you get? By sum of the second terms, you are going to get plus 2h. If you take out 2h, what is left? Here there is no term. Here only it starts. We have taken 2h common, so we are left with a plus. Remember 2h is taken out, so what is left? 2a. Then 3a. Then 4a. Plus dash dash dash. Here in this term we have taken 2h common, so we have so in this way we added first column, we also added second column, and now come to the last column. What do we have in the last column? We have h square, 4h square, n minus 1 square, h square. What is common in all of them? H square. So what is left? It is 1 square, 2 square, 3 square up to this we have to simplify to get the answer. How do you simplify? You can see that in fact here we could have taken even a common. A was there in all the terms. So put that a also outside. So you will be left with this, let it be as it is. Only add this. So you have, we are taking out a, so you are left with 2ah, and then if you take out a, what is left? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus up to n minus 1, just like the previous problem. Sum of n minus 1 natural numbers. What is sum of n natural numbers? N into n plus 1 by 2. Replace n with n minus 1. So you will have n minus 1 into n by 2. So that is the sum of all those terms. Come to this. You should know this formula. Means we are using it, so you must know it. What are the formulae we are using? We are using sigma n is n into n plus 1 by 2. Similarly, sigma n square is equal to n into n plus 1, 2n plus 1 by 6. So we will be using this formula there. Only difference is, instead of sum of squares of n natural numbers, it is sum of squares of n minus 1 natural numbers. So everywhere where n is there, replace with n minus 1. So you will have n will be replaced by n minus 1. N plus 1 will become n. Here replaced by n minus 1. So it will become 2n minus 2 plus 1. It will become 2n minus 1 by 6. Proceed. Proceed means take this h inside. So this will become take this h inside, you will have limit h tending to 0, nh a square plus, so take this h inside, so it became nh a square, take this h here, so it will become 2a h square, open this bracket, n square minus n by 2. Take this h here also. Multiply n square with this, will become 2n cube. N square with minus 1 minus n square minus n with 2n. It will become total 3n square. And then minus n with minus 1, it will become plus n. What is this nh? Just go back to the beginning. H is what? 1 by n. So if you take n and h, nh is nothing but 1. So substitute. So this is nothing but 1 into a square. In fact, you can also substitute what is a. A, we know that it is 2. So anyway, that we will do it in the next step. Plus 2a. When you multiply h square with n square, nh is what? 1. So 1 square is 1. This 2 and 2 can be actually cancelled. So you are left with a. You will get h square n square, which is 1. N square h square is 1 minus, you have h square into n. nh will become 1, but 1h will be left. So minus h. Come to this part. N cube h cube. nh is 1, so n cube h cube is also 1 cube, that is 1. So it will become 2 by 6, or in terms of 1 by 3. Similarly, multiply this, n square h square will become 1, but 1h will be left, and 3 1s are 3 2s are minus h by 2. Finally, h cube with n when you take, what will happen? nh will become 1, but you will be left with h square by 6. Now what do we do? Now proceed to the limits. What does the limit say? H tends to 0. So as a result, when we proceed to the limits, here we have a square, fine. Here we have a 1 minus h. H is tending to 0, so only 1 will be left. Plus 1 by 3. 1 by 3. This when we multiply it, we have simplified it. This h will become 0, this will become 0, only this will be left. Substitute back what is a. What is a? 2. So 2 square is 4. Here plus 2 plus 1 by 3. 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 1 by 3. 19 by 3. This is the answer. This is the answer for this question. You can also obtain this directly. How do you get answer directly? Very simple. What is integral of x square? It is x cube by 3. What are the limits? 2 to 3. So what you will get? 3 cube by 2 minus 2 cube by 2. What is 3 cube? Sorry, 3 cube by 3. What is 3 cube by 3? It is 9 minus 8. This is also 3, sorry. So 8 by 3. Simplify it. 9 3s are 27. 27 minus 8 is 19 by 3. So the same answer. So in this way, by using the formula, no doubt it is lengthy, but this is how the formula is being derived. So we are learning it. We'll just do one more problem before we close this particular session. Once again, just observe. Now it will become quite easy because we are just doing in the same manner. So first write the formula. This is our formula. What is h? H is given by b minus a by n. What is b here? A is minus 1, b is 1. So it is b is 1 minus 1 by n. In other terms, it is 2 by n. And then just go back to the same method. First write what is the function. The function is e to the power x. So if it is so, what will be fa? Will be e to the power a. What is f of a plus h? It is e to the power a plus h. F of a plus 2h, e to the power a plus 2h. F of a plus 3h, it is e to the power a plus 3h. And it can go on like that. Write the last term, that is f of a plus n minus 1h. What it will be? E to the power a plus n minus 1 into h. Earlier problems, we used to add them column wise. There is only one column here. So just copy down these values there. Okay, one small thing which you can do to avoid one step, that is, What is e to the power a plus h? It can be written as e to the power h into e to the power a. So do that. So what do you get now? You will get h outside fa. Fa is e to the power a plus f of a plus h can be written as e to the power a, e to the power h plus next one e to the power a, e to the power 2h plus e to the power a, e to the power 3h dash 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 e to the power a and e to the power n minus 1 into h. What do you find common in all of them? You find e to the power a is common, so take it out. We are left with what? 1 plus e to the power h, e to the power 2h dash 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 e to the power n minus 1h. Observe this particular series carefully. What kind of series it is? It is a geometric progression. Okay? And how many terms are there? N terms are there. See, the power is n minus 1 starting from second. Whereas if you add this particular term, number of terms are n. So go back to the sum of n terms of geometric series. We had two formulae there. What were the two formulae? The first one was Sn is equal to a 1 minus r to the power n by 1 minus r. The other one was Sn equal to a r to the power n minus 1 by r minus 1. Which one to use? There is a logic. The logic is r stands for common ratio. If the common ratio is less than 1, we use first formula. If the common ratio is more than 1, we use second formula. If this is a geometric series, what is the common ratio? How do you find common ratio? A term divided by previous term. So e to the power h divided by 1 is e to the power h. And we know e to the power x value is more than 1. So we use second formula. So use second formula to find the sum. So you will have h limit h tends to 0 e to the power a. Use that formula. A stands for first term, that is 1. R stands for common ratio, that is e to the power h. So it will become e to the power nh minus 1 by r. R is e to the power h minus 1. I was mentioning to you initially that while doing these problems, we have to recollect all that which we studied. One of them was about limits, and we will be using that formula here. Just observe carefully. This h, bring it down. So what it will happen if you bring it down? It will be limit h tends to 0 e to the power a, e to the power nh. What is this nh? Actually, you can substitute back. H into n. nh is nothing but 2. Just to make it very simple, e square minus 1 upon e to the power h minus 1. I was telling get this h here. And then use the formula. What is the formula we studied? The formula is limit x tending to 0 e to the power x minus 1 by x is equal to 1. We use that formula here. H tending to 0. Remember this h tending to 0 is for numerator as well as denominator. When you use it for denominator, e to the power h tending to 0, e to the power h minus 1 by h, this whole denominator will become 1. you will be left with what? You will be left with, when you proceed to the limits, there is no h in numerator. You are left with e to the power a. What is a? A is lower limit. So e to the power minus 1, e square minus 1. That's all. Open the bracket. If you open the bracket, what will happen? E to the power minus 1 e square will become e minus e to the power minus 1, or in other terms, e minus 1 by e. That is the answer. How do you know your answer is correct? Solve it directly. What is the integral of e to the power x? Integral of e to the power x is e to the power x. And the limits are minus 1 to 1. Substitute. So e to the power 1 minus e to the power minus 1. That is e minus 1 by e. Same answer. So problems are not difficult. Problems are simple, but requires little bit of patience to solve these problems. So if you solve half a dozen problems on your own, you will be very comfortable for doing it in the examination. Okay? So with this, we come to a close of this particular session, and in the next session, we will proceed the second method of finding out the value of definite integral. Thank you.